up? Welcome back to another episode, another pre-show tarot reading here at That Witch Podcast. I'm Danny, That Witch Next Door, your host, your guide, your mentor, and instructor in all things magic, witchcraft, and astrology. And today, I am very excited to do 2 YouTube videos in a week. Today is a big day. We are in eclipse season, aren't we? Yes, we are. And today is the Taurus lunar eclipse. Lots of great information today. Really excited to be doing a Fundamentals of Magic episode. But before we go too far, let's get into today's reading. So, uncross your legs. Get nice and even on your booty there, if that's what you're doing, is sitting. Otherwise, stand wherever you are. Try to just evenly distribute your weight if possible. You could even roll your shoulders back. Close your eyes if you feel called to. Take a nice, deep, cleansing breath in. Exhale, and really open yourself up to any truth that you may be seeking right now, or that needs to be seeking you right now. Okay. As always, I'm using the Deviant Moon Tarot deck by Patrick Valenza. You can find the link to purchase this deck in the description below. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle. What do you have for us today? Spirit guides, higher selves, what are we doing? What does the eclipse have in store for us right now? Really? I feel like I'm very aggressively shuffling. They're like, oh, are you going to say really? You're going to say really? Yes, I am. 4, 5. Lots going on. Okay. We've got some upheaval, which it is an eclipse, let's be honest. Okay. You're going to learn all about in today's episode not to let eclipse rumors and eclipse energy get you down, okay? So I'm not going to waste too much time on the reading here, really building you up about how I know that this is a time of upheaval, but you can handle it because we're going to be talking about that anyways. But it's a time of upheaval. There's a lot going on. When these cards shoot out like this, here's the deal. Here's the deal. When we get a big, big, giant, quite frankly, reversal spread like this, we are being like our face is being grabbed by our higher selves, like, look at me and listen to what I'm telling you, okay? Always take it as this big, like, flashing neon sign, like, I have a message and you need to fucking listen to me now. So, keep in mind, we have a total of 5 cards, and 4 of the 5 are big reversals. Now, I also want you to remember that these are definitely energies and tools that are already lying within you. And your guides right now are asking you to bring, or telling you that these things are being brought into balance, okay? Which is a good thing, but boy, oh boy, does it not feel good to bring things in balance. It's like, have you ever had like a dislocation, right? Like your shoulder ever got dislocated and you got to pop it back in its place. That feels terrible. And yet we wouldn't just leave it, out of its socket, right? So that's similar to what happens and how it feels when we bring things into balance. It's like growing pains. It doesn't feel great, but let's do it. And eclipse season is very much like that rip the band-aid off type of energy. It's a big, big jolt. Right off of the bat, we are getting started with the 3 of Pentacles. This is our only upright one, so let's just start here. 3 of Pentacles, as you can see, is real, beautiful, streamlined, collaborative effort. This is a very, very successful triangle, if you will. This is very much three's company, right? Like, not three's a crowd. This is three's company. Do you like how I... This is really successful, harmonious teamwork. Here's what I'm going to tell you. This is, as we lead into and start into this reading, this is a big sign and message right from the get-go. Lean into your people. Grab your support network. This is very much lean into and embrace your physical collaborative support network around you, okay? This could be family, this can be resources that make you feel very supported, okay? But in general, when we see this card, there's support happening. There's multiple facets, and they're all working together really, really well. So this is not a journey that you're going on alone. And don't forget that. Don't forget your physical resources along the way. You have them, and you are going to need them. Because right off of the bat, are you not trusting your intuition? Are you having a lot of self-doubt? Are you feeling a little bit foggy, like you can't tell what's true and what's not? What is your intuition firing off and telling you versus what is somebody maybe pulling the wool over your eyes? Or maybe there's something just shifting your perspective in general. This is a big, big call to evaluate, to really evaluate our intuitive experience, okay? High Priestess reversed is a big call to shadow work. We are out of balance here. She really represents a lot of beautiful, beautiful duality. And so when I see the High Priestess reversed, there is some serious disharmony happening here. I want you to know that things have to die in order for things to be reborn again. That kind of just came through, I'll be honest. I don't know if it was the High Priestess, but that just kind of came through for everybody, okay? It's part of all of this. It's part of winter, quite honestly. It's part of these cold months. We're in the dark part of the year. Literally, like, you're, like some of us that just ended daylight saving times and stuff like that. Like, we're literally in the dark part of the year right now. There's death happening. There's death happening. It's necessary, though. Now, this is my big indicator and what I was saying from the beginning, that this is not going to feel good, okay? Right now, things do not feel good. Things feel very unsettled. This is unsettling, and it's going to make you feel that way. In general, this is going to make you feel, all of this is going to make you feel very topsy-turvy. An eclipse season really has quite a way of doing that. And again, we'll talk about that more in the episode today, why that is. But it does have this tendency to make everything feel like static electricity, like buzzing and bubbling and simmering under, and nothing's really settled, and it's all moving and going and going. And that's really what's happening here. You're not necessarily in like full-blown danger, okay? But I do want you to be aware that things feel very wrong right now. It's very necessary. Discomfort is very, very necessary. Without it, we would stay really, really stagnant in some toxic things if we didn't physically feel some shitty feelings along with it, okay? So very, very unsettling. Here's what I found really beautiful and fascinating, though. Look at these two cards, the High Priestess and Temperance here, and look at the wings on both of these figures, and both figures have a crescent moon phase. We have a crescent moon phase here, too. Who are you? Are you that figure, the crescent moon phase? Fascinating. Don't forget, last pre-show tarot reading, when we talked a little bit about moons, right? In tarot, where there's this natural duality. Part of it is illuminated, part of it is in shadow. And it's our job to really sift through the illusions and really tap into and connect with our intuition, okay? Which is our emotional experience in many, many ways. And so these two have some big connection here. High Priestess and Temperance. Big, big connection here. In your intuition, in your intuitive experience, as well as, quite honestly, your healing journey right now. I think that all of this discomfort and this upheaval really has you questioning, shit, am I healing? I keep feeling like I'm on this growth journey. Right when I feel like I'm coming up, my head gets shoved under the surface again. Am I healing? This is a big time of test, I'll tell you that much. We're definitely testing some conviction here, which brings us to this gal, Queen of Swords. Whoop. Does this help? Can you see the Queen of Swords? Queen of Swords reversed. So this experience, feeling this way, feeling really out of touch with your intuition, and therefore feeling very disconnected from your healing journey. Babes, it's leaving you a little cold. A little bitchy, if I'm being honest. That's Queen of Swords reversed is fucking icy, edge. God, it is a brash energy. Very harsh. Confrontational, snappy. I mean, there's some wit in here, and it is striking. It's very, very striking. This is really, really it's either getting to you or it's going to get to you. It depends on where you are at in your journey. This could be kind of a look into your eclipse season. Might be a look into your day today. Honestly, your day today on this day of this eclipse is what I mean. Not your day to day. Anyways. Cold. Getting a little bitter, a little brittle even because of that. And honestly, the more cold and brittle you get, and you don't even realize it, the more sensitive you're actually getting, because you just feel like you're in the dark. You just feel like you're kind of in the dark and gloom. And honestly, I hate to break it to you, this is where the spread ends. This is the final and fifth card. It ends here. And you know, it's here's the sun on the, the other half of the year, the other side of the world, if you will. Because on our hemisphere right now, we are in the dark half of the year. We are in our wintry months and season right now. So the sun is literally like far away from us, right? Like we're not in our light season. We are in our dark season. Do you know what this reminder is? I always feel this way when I get sun reversed. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. Don't try and bring your flashlight into the dark and like feign light. Don't try and fake it. There is a really divine purpose to all of this. And your higher self is guiding you through this dark journey for a reason. I know that, like, man, those last four cards, right? Like High Priestess reversed, Temperance reversed, Queen of Swords reversed, the Sun reversed. It's hard going through that journey and remembering, right? And really remembering our reminder from the beginning that we're not alone. Do you see how easy it was while I was going through all that to feel super isolated? That, I think, I have chills right now. I think that's one of the big reminders that our guides have for us today. This is going to feel very isolating, and it's not. There's going to be a point in the journey that it's going to feel isolating, and that's where this reminder comes in. And I hope that this reminder comes shining in and riding in on a big, strong horse, okay? Because I really, I see so much relief and so much more potential and growth in this. When you take this collaborative, very teamwork energy, very, I don't have to do this alone, and I'm not going to. I'm not afraid to ask for help. I'm not afraid to utilize my tools. I'm not afraid to utilize and ask for additional resources. Hopefully this message comes, shining in for you at some point on this journey. And you're able to tap into this if you didn't, kind of bring that energy with you. But this is a reminder that eclipse season and eclipses themselves bring upheaval, period. It doesn't mean they're bad. It doesn't mean they bring bad things or bad things will happen from them. It means a whole lot is coming. A whole lot of change and a whole lot of transformation. Without eclipse season twice a year, we really would get lost in a lot of stagnancy, okay? We really would. So, though this is heavy, though we have a road to face and walk ahead, and it's not a light road, but it's a heavy road, and that's okay. I want you to bravely step into it And I want you, especially while you're here in the neighborhood, surrounded in this beautiful magical community, here from me to you, you're not alone. Don't try and do this alone. We're collective. We're meant to connect. All right. It's time. It's time to talk about the eclipse. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome to another week, another episode. Very, very fun episode today. Here at That Witch Podcast, I'm Danny. I'm that witch next door. I'm your host. I'm your guide. I'm your mentor and instructor in all things magic, witchcraft, astrology, and witchy business. And today we're taking a short little mini break from the Applicable Astrology mini series, and we are jumping back into a different, older mini series. Which is it a series? I don't really know if I call it that or not. Collection of episodes called The Fundamentals of Magic. And I'm really, really excited to start bringing these episodes back. I think that the fundamentals and building blocks of witchcraft, astrology, spell work, manifestation are so incredibly important. And I really do feel like we kind of especially when we become seasoned witches and astrologers, if you will, we kind of learn these fundamentals one time and really do forget to go back. And so this episode, all fundamentals of magic episodes, are for everybody of all experience levels, ages, backgrounds, anything. I really try and keep it as basic, open-ended, and just informative as possible so that you can take the information and use it in your practice and life in the way that best fits and suits you. So today, cue the scary music. Dun, dun, dun. Eclipse energy. Can you feel the buzz in the air? The buzz of the bees? Just kidding. Can you feel it though? Can you feel that buzz? I feel like static electricity. That's what we were talking about on the pre-show tarot reading today. There's quite a high vibration. It's a very intense vibration in general with eclipse energy. However, we are really going to reference one of our good friends, Jupiter, in this episode, so that I can hopefully kind of paint a picture for you of what eclipse energy is, and my best description on how it kind of operates, or lack thereof. You'll see. Okay. So right off of the bat, there are a couple resources that I have added to thatwitchnextdoor.com/resources under the Eclipse and Astrological section. And keep in mind, this resources page is a brand new page that I started on my website. And it's probably going to morph and change a lot over time in how it looks and functions. But for now, there are a few really helpful resources on there. You can head over there right now and find a couple of great resources connected to this episode. One is a really fascinating, just very interesting video on YouTube from Nat Geo. If anybody would like a visual representation of what a solar eclipse, what a lunar eclipse looks like, why they look that way, like what angle and position the sun and the moon are at, and the earth obviously plays a pretty big role there, and as well as the difference between a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse, and again, what that looks like in outer space. The other resource is a great little article that I thought best encompassed good, solid, basic eclipse information. There are loads and loads of articles on the internet about eclipses from a very astronomical, scientific standpoint, all the way to a very metaphysical, witchy, spiritual, astrological standpoint. So feel free to do your own exploring. I wanted to give you a couple of good basic places to jump off at because I myself am quite visual. I need, in order to understand a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse, for example, I need to know what the fuck that looks like. I really do. So go check it out. It's really fascinating. So first and foremost, what is a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse? Well, a lunar eclipse will always, oh, and by the way, there's partial and full. A partial eclipse and a full or total eclipse, okay? And that the video, oh my God, it's so nice to be able to see, oh, that's why it's partial. That's why it's total. That's why it looks this way in certain locations on the earth, depending on what eclipse it is and stuff, and why, you know, some of us on a different part of earth can't see it at all or notice a difference at all. It's really, really interesting. But we're going to focus on the metaphysical. What's the difference between lunar eclipse, solar eclipse? Solar eclipse takes place during a new moon, and a lunar eclipse takes place during a full moon. So this eclipse coming up is a partial. Should I turn to the right page? There we go. This is a partial lunar eclipse in Taurus today, Friday, November 19th, 1:57 a.m. this morning, bearing in mind our 3-day orb rule, so 1 day prior and 1 full day after the exact aspect. So eclipse energy still very, very ripe for the picking. Now, in my Honeycomb personal, remember? It's been a while since I've shown you, but I have shown you many, many times. This is a personal astrological almanac from Honeycomb Collective. Whoops, sorry. And not only does it show my own natal chart transits, collective transits as well. And one of my favorite pages in it is this. Can you see on the camera, YouTube? This is the lunations page. Don't worry, I'll describe it for you if you're not watching YouTube. These are all of the lunations or lunar transits taking place from August 2021 to July 2022, just based on when I purchased my planner, okay? So the cool part about this is I can just go, oh, cool, where are we at? It's November 19th. And it says on here, partial lunar eclipse. And the really cool thing is obviously it says the sign that it's in, the sign that the moon's in, the sign that the sun is in, the degree that this takes place at exactly. And then it also, I'll show you on YouTube, there we go, shows you the transits that eclipse will be making to the general collective as well as to your specific natal chart. I cannot recommend this thing enough. We have a partial lunar eclipse in Taurus. Because it's a lunar eclipse, that means that this is happening during a full moon. And we really just easy rule of thumb. I like keeping it easy. You can think of how to work with and view and harness the energy of a particular eclipse based on what type of moon that it's taking place on. So, for example, this is a lunar eclipse, which means it would be, a full moon if it wasn't an eclipse, which means we're very, very pulled to release, right? Letting things go, things coming to a head and finally releasing. Great time for manifesting on full moons and really claiming and stepping into your power. I personally love lunar eclipse for this kind of that latter description, that energy. I think that because the energy is so high, intense. I think that because the energy and vibration is so intense, that if you really allow yourself to tap into and feel it, it's a very, very empowering vibration. And eclipses are portals, quite honestly. And so when we do open ourselves up to them, it's almost an even easier way to plug into the network, so to speak, and really just tap into and feel your power, that connection to the universe, that collective connection we all share with one another. I find that this is a wonderful time for divination. It's going to be, if you were listening to our tarot reading before the episode today, you saw that, an eclipse reading might hit pretty hard. Think of this energy as very lightning bolty. And this, my friends, brings in our first reference of our pal, Jupiter. So Jupiter in Greek mythology is Zeus, right? God of gods. What do we know about Zeus? Even if you know nothing about Greek mythology, you probably know that he throws lightning bolts. I would be willing to bet you knew at least that. And so this is very reminiscent of what eclipse energy looks like. There is an overall intention for growth and greater good, okay? I will remind you of this until I'm blue in the face, and I'll never get tired of it. The universe does not seek or want us to be destroyed. We are part of it. The universe doesn't want to collapse in on itself. That's why all beings of the universe have some sort of driving life force. In astrology, this is represented by the sun, right? But all beings have this driving life force to keep going, to get to the next day. And so that's one of my biggest arguments why I don't believe there is any such thing as a bad transit, for example, or that an eclipse, for a more specific example, is a bad eclipse that has this like nature about it that's ready to come in and destroy our lives. Here's why that's fucking bullshit and why I really need us. Seriously, I'm serious. I need you to listen to me right now. We're getting very, very mouthy on this episode. Well, blunt, because we're like at the end of Scorpio sun season and we have Mercury and Mars in Scorpio. We're getting real as shit. Listen, I really need you to stop thinking that there are good and bad aspects and good and bad transits. Some will feel smoother. Some will feel harder. Some will feel faster and some will feel slower. Okay? That like categorization, that label of good and bad, get ready, turn up the volume. Please listen to this. This is an important PSA. Folks, that is a human judgment. Humans are one piece. We are one small, quite honestly, fraction of the universe. We are one of fucking infinite beings in this universe. Why we think that the entire universe operates the way that we do, I will never, ever, ever understand. Does anything in the universe operate truly singularly universal? No, there is a natural innate complexity to everything. There's a natural complex duality to everything, right? It's not just polarity. Polarity exists, and that therefore means the duality exists. It's not about one is right and one is good, and one is bad. It's not about that. This is why I have to get very harsh about this with eclipses. Because holy moly, there is so much fear-mongering around eclipses. Look, right off the bat, people, magical, beautiful, amazing people, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. If you don't want to practice magic on any given day for any given reason, don't. That's fine. I will always be an advocate for, hey, if you don't want to do something, you don't have to do it. That's totally fine. I'm talking about the people that feel called. I feel really called to my deck today. I feel really, really called to performing a ritual or spell today. And then gets met with, you're fucking crazy. Oh, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I don't mess around with eclipses. I mean, you do you. You could try, but don't come crying to me when it backfires, blah, blah, blah. And you know what the biggest reason for all this fear-mongering is? The chaotic energy of an eclipse. I hate to break this to you. I don't really. I'm being sarcastic. I would love to break this to you. All energy is chaotic energy, okay? I am not personally a chaos witch. I've met several of them. I've dabbled in my own research that I understand enough about it, people. That's why I love I love listening to and learning from chaos witches and chaos practitioners during eclipse season, because they just sit back and laugh at everybody. They're like, I like how just all of a sudden people are aware of chaos. It's like happening around us all the time. And I think that that's where the fear-mongering comes from, is because most of us can't wrap our head around that. Most of us can't accept that there's chaos happening around us at all times. That in so many ways we're constantly out of control, like just fucking winging it at every second, and everything's happening around us. That concept is heavy and huge and immense for so many people, and that's okay. You don't have to practice chaos magic. You don't even have to study chaos theory. I just want you to know that it's not like that is not how things are, and that when eclipse season comes, all of a sudden we're in chaos and then it magically goes away when the eclipse goes away. That's not it. I believe, and from all of my studies and what I've learned and been advised by other practitioners of chaos magic and craft, is this is a portal that makes it a lot easier to tap into this chaotic energy. I've actually read that it's a really wonderful time for manifestation. Here's the deal. That energy is just more amplified because the portal is open. Think of it as, okay, there's like a leak and there's like a piece of tape over it, but it's still kind of spurting out. When you take the tape off, like there's this, this steady stream. That's when the portal is open during an eclipse. It's just a stronger flow of energy. You're able to tap into it. But it's always there, folks. The energy is chaotic. That's what it is. That's what it is. We are representations of chaos. Humans. If you want to deny that existence, I mean, by all means, like meaning that energy and chaos is around us all at all times, that's fine. But in my opinion, we are perfect examples of chaotic energy, because look at our free will. We're all born with free will. We're all born with the ability to just throw a fucking wrench in the system, right? That's chaos. That, again, really try and remove that human emotional judgment and label of good and bad. Chaos is good and bad. Chaos is, let's do it. Let's look up the literal definition of the word chaos. Not chaos magic, just the word chaos. Okay, complete disorder and confusion. Oh my God, that one sounds rough. In physics, this is more of what I was talking about. Behavior so unpredictable as to appear random, owing to great sensitivity to small changes in conditions. It's also the formless matter supposed to have existed before the creation of the universe. Now, that is getting into some chaos magic and chaos theory, which really is absolutely fascinating, by the way. Fun rabbit hole to go down. If that's what you want to tap into this portal for, dope. Do it. Just go down a research rabbit hole about chaos theory and chaos magic. Okay. Right off of the bat, complete disorder and confusion. Now, I think that we, especially depending on maybe some of our personal placements that we might have, some of us might hear the words disorder and confusion and go, well, Danny, I thought that you said it wasn't a bad thing, and that sounds pretty fucking bad to me. And actually, I challenge you to open up that perspective, because believe it or not, there are a lot of people that hear that and they're like, yeah, that's called things that are out of our control, things beyond our control. And those things do confuse us. Why? Because we don't understand them. We don't know them. If something was acting in order, we would understand it, and therefore we wouldn't be confused. So obviously when something is acting out of order, or maybe out of what we expect it to, keep that word in mind for a second, therefore, we don't know it, and it becomes a thing of the unknown, and therefore we fear it, right? We fear the confused feeling that we're experiencing. I bring up the word expectations for a reason, because I really think that this is who has the hardest time with eclipses, is those of us that struggle with toxic expectations. Communicating your expectations, like in a relationship, in a mutual relationship, for example, wonderful, healthy thing to do. Constantly casting expectations just everywhere you go with everything, really needing to know how something happens, really painting a specific picture and needing that picture to be met in your mind. Otherwise, you find yourself in chaos, disorder, and confusion. This is where eclipse season is going to rock your boat. So I would much, much more challenge you to this perspective on this Fundamentals of Magic episode. Is it really eclipses themselves that are the big, bad, scary thing? Or does your relationship with feelings while being out of control and external forces and the unexpected and the unpredictable, is this more of a big mirror for your discomfort that you feel when you experience things of that nature? Because it's part of our nature. Order and disorder. That's a polarity and therefore a duality. Super important. Super, super important. So that's kind of my big overview about, like, don't be afraid, but still don't do anything you don't want to do. Again, there really are going to be days in magic, eclipse aside or not, whether that has anything to do with it. There will come times where you're like, man, I really was going to do this today. And something about waiting is definitely what I need to do. I don't know what it is, but I need to wait. Always follow your intuition, obviously. I just mean that if you're feeling really, really called and pulled to doing spell work or manifestation during the eclipse, just don't let yourself get totally and completely bogged down by everybody else's fear. Maybe you don't get scared of the unknown. Maybe you thrive a little bit in unpredictability. Maybe you feel a lot of comfort in areas like that where a lot of other people feel discomfort. This is where a lot of chaos witches come in, by the way. We're all born, some of us have natural tendencies towards, I like things in its place and order and predictability. And some of us long for and lean towards the very, very opposite. Again, neither is right or wrong. So I'm going to be doing some releasing on this eclipse. For me personally, that's what I'll be doing. This has been, for me personally, the intentions that I'm working with, because this is happening in the sign of Taurus, I'm really embracing the physical, material, honestly, financial aspect of this. And that's been a big, big, big theme in my journey in the last about 5 years. And since the Taurus new moon this year, earlier this year, there has been quite a building. I remember becoming aware of it on the Taurus new moon. And that was when I created my Taurus little, like, full moon eclipse release bag. It was a cute little video I did on Instagram with everybody a while ago, showing how you could make these little herbal release bags. That was when I made mine, was on the Taurus new moon earlier this year. I knew that something was building, and we have been manifesting some serious big financial goals and moves for our family in the next few years. And we've been doing this very diligently for a while. And something about that Taurus new moon, I really knew, from this Taurus new moon, by the Taurus full moon, the partial lunar eclipse, I know that it will be time to release this. And I just shoved everything into that bag. I wanted it to feel that really kind of suffocated, building feeling. And that's what I want to share with you today is whatever that might be for you, that thing that's been a long time coming. Since we're in Scorpio sun and Taurus moon, we're in very, very fixed energy here. There's a longevity here. There's a theme of longness here, if you will. That thing, that goal, that desire, something that it could be that thing that's holding you back, the thing that it's time to let go of. It's been happening for a long, long, long time, and you can really feel it coming to a head. An eclipse, a lunar eclipse, is a wonderful time for a really big, big, big release. Okay. So I am also going to participate in some sex magic because, again, we are in Scorpio sun season. Scorpio's very sexual, very, very sensual sign. And then Taurus, also very, very sexual, very, very sensual sign, especially since it's Venus ruled. And so I also really advise you to lean into the release that way too. Anytime you hear release, I want you to always remember, maybe I should orgasm. Yeah, you should. I like to do that as like a seal for my spell, whether it's like self-sex magic through masturbation or sex with my partner. I like to do whatever my main ritual is ahead of time and use the sexual act and use the actual orgasm as sort of that sealing of release. Like you release and then you seal the spell, you seal the ritual that way. That's how I've always been really called, kind of the order of things to do them in. But in general, now is a big, big time to really face some of these big concepts that Taurus confronts us with, especially with Uranus being in Taurus, being retrograde in Taurus. We have really been under a lot of evaluation when it comes to our collective sustainability, our collective materialism, our collective, honestly, in a lot of ways, selfishness, unwillingness to share. Oh, there's a lot of that, right? Taurus is, I have to survive. I have to survive. I have to survive. And Taurus has to remember to really lean into that Venus, that Venetian ruling, that empathetic ruling that it can kind of detach from a little bit sometimes. This is a time to really start reflecting on your personal spending habits, especially emotionally triggered ones. Oh my God, have you ever heard toxic treat yourself? That's unevolved Taurus stuff, okay, in general. So this is a really, really, really great time to release that. Are you justifying constantly spending for, like, this happens a lot, for self-care, right? But it's self-love, but it's self-love, but it's self-love. When does it become self-sabotage? When do you accept that it's finally self-sabotage? Because you say that it's self-love, but if you're spending yourself dry, baby, that's not self-love. I promise you, you don't need that. This moon, this eclipse, really, really big time, especially because it's a partial lunar eclipse. We're getting some illumination here from the sun. This is a time to really be honest with yourself. Okay? I mean, really be honest with yourself. Where are the roots of this coming from? Where do the roots of this overspending come from? Because at some point, what started or is at least intended to be self-care, babe, is wasteful. You really got to face that truth, this eclipse, okay? the North Node is going to move into Taurus soon. So as a collective, we're going to be very, very pulled to this energy. I would start reflecting on and examining this now. I would start really examining in general the way you seek out and consume resources. I would do some research on what's going on for other people right now in your country, in other countries, other communities in general. What kind of access do people have to different basic human resources right now? How are you contributing to the progress of our world and collective? And how are you contributing to our own destruction and our own damage as a collective? Really don't be afraid to face these things. I think that this is why eclipses feel scary, because we know that they bring so much change with them and we're really afraid of change. And you know who's the most afraid of change? Fixed signs. And so Taurus, with the sun in Scorpio, this is scary. I don't want change. I don't want to. It feels that way. It feels very toddler, not in a mean way, but just in a very developmental way. It feels like a lot of us are like, but I don't want to change. I don't want to have to let go of doing things the way I was used to doing it. I don't want to have to stop doing that. I don't want to have to recycle that. I don't want to have to find a way to use reusables. I don't want to find a way to upcycle. I want to keep using the same plastic bottle that I get to just throw away after every single use, right? Single-use plastic and stuff. Sounded weird it sounded like reusable plastic. I meant it to be a single-use plastic example. We really get this, right? Because so many humans really, let's be honest, are like, oh my God, let's save the environment. Like, let's do our part. And then the moment you're like, cool, well, these are some of the things that you need to do. They're like, well, ew, hard. I don't like that. I like doing it this way. That is super unevolved Taurus, super unevolved Scorpio energy. Ugh, ew, I don't even want to try. Well, then be ready to be the curator of your own self-destruction. I'm serious. That's what it is. And that's what eclipses do. When we're sitting there with our arms crossed, Taurus, digging our heels in, being stubborn, the eclipse, Jupiter, that lightning bolt comes in and goes, hey, you know how you keep just like refusing to budge and move? It's time to fucking move. And the lightning bolt strikes. That's why I said at the very beginning of all this, the people that are unwilling to budge and unwilling to really face and embrace unpredictability and chaos and all that, that's why they have the hardest time during eclipse season. And in my opinion, that's where and who the fear-mongering comes from, is the people that just personally have a hard experience with it because of their own personal lessons and truths that they're working through, honestly. But this is really potent, really powerful, really transformative energy. It's the purpose. It's to bring change. And what is change but transformation? So if you're excited and fascinated by and really drawn to eclipse energy or some of these terms that I've been talking about, like chaos energy, chaos magic and stuff, lean into this. Follow that little white rabbit. I'm serious. Follow that calling and lean into it. There's something waiting for you. That's why it's calling you. And I'm really, really excited for you to tap into this. I want this episode to make you feel really confident and like, oh, I don't have anything to be afraid of. Duh. And to just get out there and practice some good old-fashioned witchcraft. But seriously, okay? Do it. Go masturbate. Maybe I'll just tell you that on every show. I'll just remind you, hey, today, drink some water. Make sure you have a couple snacks throughout the day. You should probably get a quick orgasm in. Love you. Have a good day. Oh, you guys are the best. Thank you. Thank you for being here with me, for loving the show, for connecting with me, for finding the value in what I'm putting out there, because it does mean so much to me. And to those of you that it's helping, I'm just so happy. So happy to hear that. So happy eclipse, happy partial lunar eclipse in Taurus. You got this. Don't worry. Eclipses aren't scary. If you're looking for like specific correspondences. Like, what kind of crystals should I use, Danny? What kind of plants should I work with? What kind of herbs and essential oils and stuff? You're going to want to look to Taurus-y vibes for that, okay? That's a good place for inspiration. Any of those things that correspond to Taurus, you can very much bring Scorpio energy into that as well, and bring in crystals or tools of other kinds that are representative of and for Scorpio. In general, though, I really want you to follow your intuition. Your magic, if you are going to perform and manifest tonight on an eclipse night, I'm going to leave you with this tip. Your magic might not look and feel the same as it usually does. That's the unpredictability. I promise, as long as you feel like you're always following your intuition and you just keep following your intuition throughout the entire ceremony or ritual or spell, whatever it is you're doing, you're on the right track. Okay. Even if it looks different, remember, we said it a million times in this episode, that doesn't mean we just label it a good or a bad thing. Okay. Just because it's different doesn't mean it's bad. So just remember the basics. Ground yourself, cleanse your energy, put a protective energetic orb around you, do your magic, and then ground and cleanse and protect again. Okay? You got it. Don't you worry. Such a powerful little witch, aren't you? Okay. I love you. This was amazing as always. Y'all are the best. And I am sending you the best eclipse vibes possible for you. I hope that you get everything that you need, okay, to evolve to your highest self. All right, everybody. You got this. Let's go into this weekend. Take it by the horns, the Taurus bull horns. We got it. All right. You stay magical out there.